Hey, this is Passy from Passy's World of ICT, the guy with the white hat. And today we've got a VBNet fun and game. So we're going to learn to say hello in foreign languages in foreign countries. So that's going to be a bit of a fun learning how to do that. So we're just making a little learning program just for fun because we can. So in this lesson, we're going to have some fun making a foreign hello program that teaches people how to say hello in a few different foreign languages. So let's show you what we mean and what we're making. Okay, so we have two different versions of the program. The first one uses drop-down lists. So let's pick France and click the go button. And bonjour is the word in French for hello. So let's listen to it.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Okay, so we're playing a sound file there, a WAV file. Then we have a second version here, and this one's the same thing. It's just that you can use these radio buttons. So let's pick Italy and have a listen to that.
Ciao. Ciao.
All right, what if we pick Australia? G'day, mate.
G'day, mate. G'day, mate.
All right, and that's how we say hello in Australia. Okay, so that first one, as you can see, we're going to use the drop-down list combo box for that one. And for the second one, we're just doing the same sort of thing, and the program code's nearly identical, but we're going to have, you can kind of click and pick in a list of radio buttons, these guys are called, which is okay if you've only got a few things to pick from, but obviously if you had lots and lots of countries, you usually see the drop-down list being used. So remember, I'm a bit of a slow talker, so make sure you increase the play speed of this video to 1.5, 1.75, even 2.0. You just go to the tools cog on the player bar, click on that, go to playback speed and make it 1.5, 1.75, then you'll be good to go. Okay, this is a fairly long lesson because we're doing 4 versions of the program here to build it up. So use the video timeline index if you need to take breaks. And how that works is you go to the video description and there is a timeline index here. And say you had finished how to do the official mock-up screen design, right, at 6:55 and you take a break. When you come back, just go to the timeline index, click on this blue 6:55 here, and it'll take you and start up. It'll jump ahead and start up in the next section of the video. So the learning objectives, as well as learning to say hello in foreign languages, we're going to use the Agile Method. So the Agile Method is what most people are using these days, which involves cycles of design, build, and test. So we'll have version 1 of the program, which just tells you how to say hello. Then we'll have version 2 where you can actually have the listen button and listen to it. And then version 3 you can pick with the drop-down list of different countries, and version 4 is where we use radio buttons rather than a drop-down list. We're also going to learn how to document, how to label your designs for your screen forms, okay, how to write pseudocode for working out processing logic for the program without the overhead and cumbersome program syntax of a particular language. You can just write it out in general English and then work from there. Obviously, to get those listen button working, we have to learn how to do WAV files and play them, but you might be able to get your sound in an MP3 file, and there's some online tools you can use just to make it to WAV, because Visual Studio wants WAV files and won't play MP3s easily. Okay, so you want to use WAV instead. How to copy sound files into the bin debug library and play the sounds in VBNet. How to create the drop-down list or the combo box. We're going to use if, else, if, and if statements to work out, once people have picked a country, how to work out which hello to put up and which sound to play. And we do that with if, else, if, and if statements. How to create and use the radio buttons as an alternative version. And we'll examine a range of example programs at the end which are using combo boxes, radio buttons, and also there's another one called checkboxes, which we'll look at the end, and find out which is the best type to use depending on the input which the person needs or that you require for the program or the application to run. All right, so there's some lesson downloads. You can get the following downloads. Go to the video description and find the downloads link. There's the bonjour, someone saying bonjour, someone saying buenos dias, the Spanish hello, someone saying ciao, and someone saying g'day, mate. Now, why is the Spanish one not hola? Well, that's the informal. These are just formal greetings, so you're being polite. Okay, and bonjour, also there's a informal one where you just say ça va, how's it going? But we're using the formal greetings because they're the best ones to use because it's safest to be polite to people. So we have the overview PDF document too, which covers everything we're doing in this video. Then we've got detailed step-by-step instructions with code fragments in it and things like that to really help you out. And that's a separate PDF in the download. So click the video description and get the download. So the Agile method of gradually building up the full program application steps. What are we talking about here and what are we going to do in this lesson? Well, the first one we're going to do is, this is the annotated screen form design. So first you need to design your form. Now, Visual Studio is great because it has a form designer. A drag and drop interface for designing forms. So you just design what you want it to look like, okay? And then you have to do these annotated labels, all right? This is a requirement for Australia, for VCE, if you're here in Australia doing this work. All right, so we do that. And in the labels, we just put what the text is, the property for that label, that's a label component. What fore color or font color we're using, that's a smoke white color there. And this one is modern, number 20, size 36. So that gives you that traditional looking type writing. So the Agile method includes creating these fully labeled designs for the screen forms. And then the first one we have it's just going to be where you click here and we're just going to do France. Okay, this picture, you can get a picture for your country, get those off Google Images and just save those. And then you can put them in the picture boxes, all right? But yeah, so we're just doing France first. You're not even going to get to pick. You're in France and you have to say bonjour. So when you click here, it just tells you the word, all right? Version 2 is where we're going to add that listen button and have the WAV file as well. So we update our screen design. Here, our mock-up. We need to update that in our design documentation and point out that we've got this extra button here, which is called BTN Listen. We're using Hungarian notation there to name the item, and that's a requirement as well. Google for Hungarian notation if you don't know what that is. The second screen design shows how version 2 program, when we add the listen button, it's going to play a WAV file and someone will say bonjour. So this is Agile. First we build this one up and get it working. Then we add a listen button and get it working. Just for France, we're just concentrating on one country to start off with. Then we get into version 3 where we're going to have the combo box drop down list. So again, we have to update our design here to include the new item. And this one here, you'll be able to pick and click. And we've just chosen 4 countries, France, Spain, Italy, Australia. Now, if you want to do different ones, that's fine. It's just that in the downloads, you won't have the WAV file for that country. So you'll just have to make a WAV file on your own mobile phone or a recorder of some sort. If it's an MP3 file, you can email it to yourself. If it's an MP3 file, we'll show you how to load that up and make it into a WAV file. So let's say you wanted to do Indonesia or Bali or somewhere like that. So selamat datang is how you say hello. So selamat datang. So you would have to record yourself saying selamat datang. All right, and make that into a WAV file and use that and have Indonesia in the drop-down list. And all we've done here in version 4 is instead of having that drop-down list, we've just taken away the combo box, replaced it with a group box with radio buttons inside it. And we'll show you how to do all of this during the live demo when we actually build it in Visual Studio. And that way you can just pick and click one of these radio buttons and then you click the go button and you'll get the word and you'll be able to listen to it. All right, so programming in pseudocode. So pseudocode is another part. So we're kind of doing this by the book properly. So we're not just getting into Visual Studio and slapping our code in and seeing if it works. Although for a project this easy you could, but we're doing it properly and learning the design build methodology here. So first up you have your mock-up screens, and then when you've got some logic to do, it's easy to write it down in plain English first before you worry about putting it into VisualBasic.net or into Python or into JavaScript or whatever language you're using. All right, so the pseudocode can then be translated into the language of your choice. So this is the screen we've got here, and we have to process which one they've picked and decide to show the right picture, like if they've picked Spain, we need Buenos Dias, and this picture just got off Google Images. All right, so the program begins, and while the screen form loads, this foreign hello text box is made invisible. The picture of France is made invisible, the Spain picture, the Italy, the Australia picture. What we do, you'll see this in the build, is we take the picture boxes with the picture of the country in it, and we just stack them all up on top of each other and make them all the same size. And we make them all invisible. And then, like, if you pick Spain, what we'll do is we'll make the Spanish picture visible. So that's the only one you see in the stack, and the other ones stay hidden. All right, so what happens next is we get an input off the user. They make a choice, their user country choice. So this backwards arrow here means that the memory variable user choice will now contain whatever country they've chosen. So when they click there, this actually goes inside the computer's memory as their choice. Now, if the user choice equals France, that's the first one we'll check because it's top of the list. Foreign hello, we need to set the foreign hello label text here to say bonjour, and we want to make that foreign hello text label box visible, okay? So when we check a variable's value, notice we use that if the user choice that's in memory is equal to France, we use an equal sign. But when we're assigning a value into a variable, we use this backwards arrow sign, all right? That's just a convention of pseudocode that you'll have to learn. In the program, you don't do it like that. You just use equals both times. But in pseudocode, they use this backward arrow, so you'll have to get used to that. So make the France picture visual, make the listen button visible. Now, then we've got, now this is just working on getting the text and the picture. We've got a separate section, I think, which does the actual setting up the right WAV file for the listen button, all right? So else if, so if they haven't chosen France, which is the case here, they've chosen Spain, so it'll come here, else if user choice equals Spain, well, that's what we've got actually. So it's going to set foreign hello to Buenos Dias, make the Italy picture visible. That's not right. That should say make the Spain picture visible. All right, now if they haven't chosen France or Spain or Italy, maybe they've chosen Australia. So we have, if the user choice is Australia, set all that up. And then we need a final else here, a final option that could happen, which is where they haven't picked anything. So put up this little message on the screen that they've made an invalid country. Or if they've actually gone into this box and typed their own country, like Brazil or something like that in the box. Anyway, so that's how we work it out in pseudocode. And then we need to convert that into the Visual Studio Code. To translate the France if check from the go button pseudocode. All right, so we've got here, if they've chosen France, do all this stuff. That's in pseudocode, plain English. How we get that into Visual Studio is, we'll have to have this, when you double click on the button here on the form, so double click on the go button, that'll take you into the code and it writes this first private sub bit for you. Then we need to convert this pseudocode into Visual Studio VB netcode. Now how we do that is for a country box, for a combo box, we've got CBO, combo box country dot selected item equals France. Then LBL hello, which is what we've called this label here on the form, which is hidden at the moment, lbl.text, the text property is going to equal bonjour. We're going to make that visible so you see it on the screen. Pick France visible is true, so we get the France picture showing. Pick Spain visible is false. Pick Italy is false, and pick Australia is false. So they all need to be false because we could be doing this the second time, and maybe the previous time they did Australia. We want to get rid of the Australia picture and have the France one there instead. And btn listen visible equals true. All right, so that's how we translate that. And these things have to be named properly on your form. So this guy here needs to be called LBL hello for its name in the properties for that label. If you don't do that right, what'll happen is here you'll get these red squiggle underlines because it can't find LBL hello on the form. So if you call this LBL greeting or something, LBL say hello, a different name, you'll get red squiggles here, all right? because the code name has to match the form name. Note that we always include this comment code too, this green stuff. Now what's this green stuff all about? This is called internal documentation. This is another part of the standard design and build methodology or method which you must use. So we put a single quote mark so the compiler and the running of the program ignores all this stuff, but we can read it when we look at the program listing code. So go button makes the foreign hello, the correct picture, and the listen button visible. So that's what the go button does, and that's what this subroutine here is. All right, in the lesson downloads, there's detailed step-by-step instructions which take you through the whole thing. So make sure you get the downloads and get those step-by-step instructions because they're more detailed than what we're showing here. So let's do a live demonstration. And I think we're going to demonstrate the whole thing, I think. Let's follow the step-by-step instructions, and we're going to build versions 1 to 4 of the foreign hello application. All right, so that's going to be pretty interesting. And let's go and get on with that. Okay, so here we are in Visual Studio 2019, and we need to go, when you load it, we've got this screen here. So we're just going to create new project. And what you need to do here is set the filters. So we want to do Visual Basic. We want a Windows for our type, and we want, see there's a couple of console ones, but we want a desktop one. And that will limit your choices here. There's still quite a few. Now we need .NET Framework, but this is where it gets confusing. It's not WPF, it's not Windows Forms App.NET. We want this one, Windows Forms App.NET Framework. So that's the one we need. So let's click on that, and then we go next. All right, now we don't want to call it that. We want to call it okay, we'll just call it Foreign Hello Lesson. And again, give it a name, and here click these triple dots and make sure you save it somewhere. So I'm just going to save it here where I can get at it. You can save it in your OneDrive. A lot of networks and systems will block you running the program if you're at school or somewhere. So you need to save it in your OneDrive, and it should run from your OneDrive okay. We don't need to change anything else, and we just go create. And this should make us a blank form. And then we've got to start making all those things. We need a heading, and we need a few other things. So let's just close this little guy here about the display. Let's stretch this out a bit so we've got a bit of room. Now the background, we had a kind of green background. So I've just clicked anywhere on the form. I've got my properties here. Now if properties aren't showing, you'd have to go view, and properties should be here somewhere. Properties window. All right, so say they weren't showing up and you haven't got your Solution Explorer either or anything else, just remember, go to View and go Properties Window, and then it should come up. And we're just going to leave the name as Form 1. The text though, we could change the text. Don't change the name, that's important, don't change it. But you can change the text. So we'll just say Foreign Hello. For that. Now we need a back color. So I'm clicking this arrow here and I'm going to web colors because they're better colors. And we want some sort of green. So let's use forest green. Maybe we'll even go darker. Green. Too many choices. Yes. Just going to go for dark green there. Now, the first thing we need is a label. So, best to get the step-by-step instructions here and have a look at this form design because that's what we're doing. So, we need French Hello, 4-color white smoke, modern 36. All right, so in your toolbox here, remember, it might be showing like this and you're just drawing pin it in there. We need a label, so let's do the label. And then we want to change the font. So we're going in font, clicking the triple dots. We want modern. Where are you? Modern number 20. That's the one we want. And we want size 36. So we say OK on that. Now the color, the for color, I'm not sure if it said what color that was, but it's a kind of orangey gold color. I think we're using gold. Oh no, that's gold. No, that's dark orange. This is smoke white. All right, getting ahead of myself here. So anyway, this one needs to be up near the top. Instead of bright white, we'll just use something that's a little bit less bright, this white smoke color. Slight difference. Then we just need to change the text here on that label to say, whoops. Oh, I don't know what I've done there. I'll probably do Control F instead of Shift F. All right, and when you press enter, it goes on the screen. Now, what we can do to make the next one is we'll just go Control C, Control V, and this one we can just change. Now, this has to have a special name, this one. Remember, it has to have the name LBL in little letters and a big H, LBL hello. The heading one didn't need a name, and this one needed to be for color. Here was dark orange, that one, and then it must be bigger as well. Let's see the size on that. That size is 48. Okay. And then we're just going to need the button and the picture. All right, so let's go on to the font and make it up to 48. And then this has some text in it too. This text needs to say bonjour. And I think it has it in capitals. That's it there, bonjour. Okay, so we've got that in there. Now we need a button. And that's going in here. So just drag it out from those tools. And the button needs to say click here, font size 14. All right, so let's do the text first. It needs to say click here. Then that needs to be up here. So make sure you got these on too, on A to Z in the properties, then they'll be in alphabetical order and it's easy to find things. So it needs to be size 14, and then we can't see it, so get on these little stretchies and give it a bit of a stretch. So that's our click here, and let's just try and get these a bit better. Click here, it's going to say bonjour. And then we just need the picture box. So let's get our picture box and drag it out. And that's going to go down here. We need a picture. Now, we haven't got a picture yet. So what you do is you go to Google, and I've just searched for French flag picture in Google Images, and I found this one. So click on that picture. Now let's show you that step. All right, so I found this picture which we like. So click on that picture, all right, and then right click here and go open image in new tab. All right, and there it is. And then I usually just use the snipping tool. Now, as long as you're doing this for education purposes, here in Australia, this doesn't violate copyright, all right? So that's okay. Now, then from the snipping tool, I've lost my mouse all of a sudden. We can go File, Save As, and I don't think it matters whether it's a PNG or a JPEG, but let's just save as a JPEG, and let's call this France. Let's call this France Pick. And we need to put this somewhere in that project. All right, games programming, number 8. We should be up to number 8. 7, 8. And I think I've got a folder called spare stuff where I've just got these pictures. So we've done the same thing for Australia, Italy and Spain, but that's how to get France. So we've saved that. So we're done on Google. Now here, there's a little arrow on your picture box. First thing is size mode. We use stretch image, so it's going to stretch to fit in the picture box, all right? Then we need to choose our image, so we go import here, and we have to find, there's the spare stuff one, we want that France picture, okay? So we click on that, and we go open, and we say okay. And there's our France picture in there. All right, so that is our form done. Okay, so that's the form design done for the live demo. Next we're going to do the code, but if you want to take a break, remember there is a video timeline index, and just come back to where we're doing the code for the first version of the program. All right, so welcome back. We're ready to do program code. So what you do is if you double click anywhere in this form area, it's going to open up the code and you'll say, oh, where's my form gone? Well, it's over here. Now, if you accidentally close that, just click on Form 1 VB here over on the right in Solution Explorer and you can get that back up. But we need to be in the code here. So it needs to start with public class Form 1 and end class. That's really important. That's like the front and back cover of the book. In pseudocode, remember we had a begin and we had an end. That's like your begin and end. So what we got here is it's written a subroutine for what's going to happen when the form loads. Now remember, when the form loads, we don't want to be seeing this bonjour yet, and we don't want to be seeing the picture yet. So we need to make these guys visible. Now this one's called LBL Hello. Now this one I need to give a name. And that name can't be picture box 1, I don't think. It needs to be pick France. So let's just fix that up. Actually, I'll leave it as picture box 1 and I'll show you what happens when we don't name it properly, all right? So we need those two things visible. Now to save time, I'm not going to type it in with my clumsy long spelling. I'm just going to grab this. They're the two things we need, and we're going to put those into there. Now, notice I'm getting a red squiggle underline on Pick France, and it's saying Pick France is not declared, it may be inaccessible. It's not declared. The thing is that Pick France, that name, and I'll just Control C to copy it here. Over on our form, we've called it, this picture box, we've called it not Pick France, we've called it picture box 1. So we need to make the names match. So if we change that to Pick France and go back to our code, that red squiggle will go away. All right, now we can run the code at this stage. So you should always just be doing a little and then running it. This is the whole idea of Agile. Just little baby steps at a time. There was an old Chinese proverb, I think, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So let's just check this first step. And this is all working. What's happened is it's ran and we're not seeing the bonjour and we're not seeing the picture of France. Of course, the click button isn't working yet, but that's what we'll work on with our next bit of code. So what we do now is we want to write the code for that button. So we double click on the button, and basically with the button, all we want to do is make these two guys become visible. So let's just Control C, copy those and put them down here. Now there is a problem here that this is called BTN1. Now it wasn't supposed to be called button 1, and again, that's from rushing things. And on the form, if you read the design properly, this was supposed to say BTN click here. Look, we could do the code and it'd work fine, but if your teacher was assessing this as something you'd handed in, here in Australia anyway, yeah, you'd lose points because you hadn't named things properly using this Hungarian notation. So let's click on that again and see how it says BTN click here now. So that's all good. Let's grab these two guys and we're putting them in there. And all we need to do is, instead of it being false, we just want the visible to become true. So when you click that button, what happens is these guys will suddenly appear because we've changed their visible property. We're saying, hey, don't be invisible anymore. Show yourselves to the world. So let's run it and see if it works. It should work. Okay, so here we are, foreign hello, click here, bonjour, and we get the picture of France. So that's working really nicely. And I believe that is version 1 of the program finished. All right, so the next step is to add a listen button onto our form. All right, so let's just do a file, and remember you'd go file and save all, or you use these double disk buttons here. Make sure you save all your work. We're going back to our form design now. Now we'll have to move our picture of France down a little bit. And again, what we can do is we can just Control-C, Control-V, copy that button, and we'll just change it to this guy's name. Needs to be BTN Listen. So remember we're writing BTN, the Hungarian abbreviation there, BTN Listen, and then its text needs to say listen, not click here. So go down to the text and type listen. All right, now that's all set up. Now, how do we get the sound file stuff happening? So let's have a look at the detailed instructions for that. So you can go to freesoundeffect.net. That seems to have quite a few sounds on it. So we went there and we searched for bonjour, and we actually found this one. And you can play it, but on the screen, on this player, if you right click and go save audio as, you can save it into a folder on your device, which is what we did. Now, if it's an MP3 file that you save, that you found on the internet, or recorded yourself speaking on the phone, or a friend doing it, just use this free convert, and that's that. Now you have to copy this WAV file into the bin debug folder of your project. Now that's pretty tricky to find. You've got to drill down, double clicking on these folders till you get to it. All right, so let's show you exactly what we mean. So in this spare stuff, we've got a bonjour file here. Okay, so we're going to Control-C, copy that, or just right click on it and go copy if you like doing it that way. Then we need to go to our, where is it? Foreign hello lesson. This is our project here. So double click on that. Then you go into this main folder. Then if you look at the instructions there, we go to bin. So we go to the binary folder. Then from there you go to the debug folder, and it needs to go in here. So we'll right click and we'll paste that bonjour sound in there. All right. So now it's in as part of our project. All right, so you have to do that. Just with our normal Windows Explorer, we're doing that. Now, to make a WAV file play, this is all you need. You just need, as long as it's in that bin debug folder, you just need my computer audio play, bonjour.wav. So let's put that in as the code for when you double click the listen button. It should just play that bonjour file. So fingers crossed that this is all going to work. So here's the program's just taking a minute to run. Okay, so we've got our thing here. When we do click here, it should make the hello and the picture visible, just like it does in the code here to the left. Now, when we click the listen button, okay, we have a problem. System IO file not found exception. Please ensure that it exists there. So it's saying it can't find our file. All right, so that's interesting because I thought I'd put the file in the right place. All right, so let's go and check out what's happened there. Now, this is an MP3 file. You see, that is the problem, all right? That needs to be converted to a WAV file. So I've got the wrong file type in there, and that's what I wanted to show you, that that doesn't work. All right, so let's just go to the downloads. So with the downloads, it's been converted into a WAV file. So let's Control-C, copy that. So I can get this from the downloads, the bonjour one. Let's go back into our bin debug. I'm just double clicking on each of these, and let's Control V in this one, bonjour.wav. All right, so it needs to be a WAV file. And remember, there are free online converters if you've got an MP3 file, but we won't show that at the moment. All right, so because this is still running and it's sort of stopped saying, hey, you've got to fix something, you need to go up the top here and click this stop button. All right, so click the stop button up here. All right, now we're back and we've got the start button. So if you don't see the start button, look for the red square stop button and click that. So let's have another go. So click here, we've got our picture.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
All right.
Bonjour.
So there we are, that is working. So that is version 2 of the program done. So let's save that. And then we get on to, not that one, this one. Okay, so that's our version 2 code, that's all working. Now we need to add in this combo box, and then we have to do edit items in the properties and type in our 4 programs. And this needs to be called little CBO for combo box, then country. We're also going to change the name of the picture box. We're going to change that. Stack them on top of each other. Oh no, we're leaving that as pick. That has to be pick France, pick Spain, pick Italy, pick Australia. And we have 4 picture boxes stacked on top of each other. All right, that heading's staying the same. We're going to have a new label that says choose a country, and we're going to make the click here into a go button and have BTN go. So we've got quite a few changes. So now might be a good time to take a break. All right, you've done version 1, you've done version 2, and you know how to get the WAV files playing and stuff. And yeah, take a break, and then in the video timeline index, just find where we're doing the live demo of version 3, and then come back and you can work on this. Okay, welcome back. So we need to make these changes. So we've got to have this combo box, CBO country, and a few other things. So let's get onto our form here, our design. Now remember, this guy here is changing to be a much smaller button that just says go. All right, and we're going to change its name here to BTN Go. All right, that's going to kind of be over here, and then we've got to get a combo box. So here's a combo box, you drag it out. Now the size of the font, we want it to be bigger, so now here's its name. Remember, this is called CBO Country. Okay, now for the font, I think we need to make it 14, the same size as the button. So it looks good. So that's going to be there. All right, now the edit items, we need to find that. And the easiest way to find it is click this arrow button up the top of the combo box and go to edit items. All right, so the items we need in our drop-down list are France. So I type France, then I press the enter button. Then the next one was Italy. Or was it Spain? It doesn't really matter. I think it was Spain, Italy, Australia. Now remember, you can use different countries as long as you can find a picture and a sound file for that country. And we could have 10 countries here if we wanted to, but we're just going with 4. So that's our items edited in. Now if we run it at this stage, now the other thing is we've changed, it's changed this to BTN Go. Okay, so it changed that automatically. All right, I think we can run this now. We'll just check if that combo box in the edit items is working all right. So there we go. So you can pick and click your countries. So that's all working. Now we just need a little instruction label for people. So let's grab another label. And this one will probably need to be bigger. I'm guessing, I mean, we should look at the design, but I think it's size 14. This one doesn't need a special name. And the fore color, we don't want black. We're going to use that white smoke color. And the text for this needs to say, choose country. All right, so we've got all that set up. Now we have a picture box of France, but we need picture boxes for all the other countries. So this one needs to be called Pick France, which it is. So that they're all the same size, the easiest thing to do is to right click on this and just go copy, and then just right click on the form and go paste and get another one. So that way it's going to be the exact same size of this. And then we just click the choose image, and we'll have to import in our picture of Italy and say OK. And so we need to make sure this one is called Pick Italy. Okay, and we can just do Control-C, Control-V if you don't want to do that edit paste thing. This one here, let's just choose an image. So we got an image off Google Images, snipped it out of the bullfighting. Apologies to people that don't like cruelty to animals from the bullfighting. I guess we shouldn't have done that. Should have been politically correct, but I don't know, that's how I remember Spain, that Spain has bullfighting. And of course Australia has the most beautiful city in the world, Sydney, with the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. So this one is Pick Australia. Yes, I don't live in Sydney because, I don't know, my life started off in Melbourne. Then I went to the US for a while. Actually, life started in South Africa. I went to the US, then went to Australia, then went to the US, then came back to Australia again. But anyway, it's not all about me. So these should all be the right size to stack on top of each other. So it doesn't matter what order you put them in, except they're not equal. So that needs to go there. This one's underneath that one. This one's on top of that one. This one's on top of that one. All right, so let's go into the code and see what we need to do. Now, pick France. We've got some other countries now. So we're going to need to make the Italy picture invisible. The Spain one. And the Australia one. And notice it's giving me a red squiggle because I haven't got it matching the name that's on the form. So remember, if you get the red squiggles here, it means you need to go to your form, okay, and check the name of that guy. Let's pick Australia. So in the code, it has to be Pick Australia as well. Now we've got LBL hello visible, and we also need to make the listen button invisible as well. So let's just put that in here, that btn go.visible equals false. All right, and remember, just do a little bit and test it. This is the whole Agile thing, so we'll just test how that works. So what should happen is it should run, and there we are. Oh, the listen button. I've made the wrong button invisible by the looks of it. btn listen should be false. This is why it's best to just do a bit of code and test it. Okay, so the listen button isn't there. we do the go and it does our old stuff, but it's not doing the new stuff of showing the listen button because we haven't got round to that yet. All right, so that's that. And this program's going to be a little bit more complicated. So there we are, we've got all that set up. Now, the go button makes foreign hello the correct picture and the listen button visible. All right, so let's go to where we've got that. That's our BTN go. Now in here is where we should put our little comment, starting off with a single quote. Because if you don't do that, it's going to give you a big squiggle. So just use a single quote, which is next to the enter key on those keyboards. So that's that. Now, all of this, we'll just take that off for a minute. So here we're going to need a big long if statement. So this is our pseudocode, right? So I've done all that stuff for when the screen form loads, but now we need to have this user choice. Now how you get the user choice is you use CBO country dot user choice, I think is how we translate it, something like that. Now if the user choice is France, we want to do the France stuff. If the user choice is Spain, we want to do the Spain stuff, and so on. So we've got to get all that into our VBNet code. Now we've also got separate code for when they click the listen button. If it's France, make sure you play the bonjour, play Buenos Dias for Spain, and all that sort of thing. All right. Now, if you were worried about efficiency, you could put this code here and do it another way, but it's easiest to just do it like this, and it's only a small program, so it doesn't matter about the efficiency. So how do we get all this into our Visual Studio, right? So we need this sort of stuff here. So if it's France, we want the France picture to be visible true, but everything else to be false. We want to bring up that listen button and make the label hello text say bonjour, and then make that label visible. All right, so again, just to save typing, I'm going to just do this at the moment. Now, it's underlining all that as an error because whenever you have an if, you've got to have a matching end if. Okay, so we've just got that code in for France, and let's just see if it works. All right, so our combo box is called CBO country, and how you work out what they've picked is that'll go into a memory location called CBO country.selected item. That's the property, the selected item. Now, if we click go, nothing happens because we haven't written any code for Spain yet, but we have done France. And if we do France, yes, France comes up. That's good.
Bonjour.
And if you listen, we've still got the old code there, which is doing that. All right, now once you've done the first one, it's pretty easy. We just need an else if. And we pretty much need all the same code again, except we need to do our next country. So we can just copy that code in there, but this time we're looking at Spain. All right, so we just say if it's Spain, then the text is going to be a different greeting. I think it's Buenos Dias. Is it Buenos or Buenas? Buenos Dias. Okay, the visible is true now. We don't want the picture of France to show. That's not good. We want the picture of Spain to show. All right, so we make that true. All right, and again, just use Agile. Let's just run that. And it should be set up to do Spain now. And it's doing Spain correctly, but
Bonjour.
the listen bit's not too good, but everything else is all right. Okay, so All you have to do now is copy and paste this else if a couple of times and just change it to Italy and make it ciao for Italy. Change it to Australia in the other copy and make this say g'day mate. Make sure the right picture is coming out true and all the other ones are false. All right, so we'll just pause the video and we'll put that in. Okay, so we've put that in, and we've also put in a thing here that says invalid country selected. All right, so we'll show you what that means. So if you don't select a country, it gives up this little message, invalid country selected, and then you click OK. All right, and it'll keep doing that little message until we pick a country. So let's pick Australia and go. G'day mate, that's working. Let's pick Spain, Buenos Dias. Let's pick Italy, ciao, and we're getting the right pictures and everything's working.
Bonjour.
But the trouble is that every country you do has bonjour. So we need another set of if-else's here. And that's where we're going to play the right thing. So what we do is go to your listen button, double click on it. And what we need to do here is, if it's France, then need an end if. So whenever you got an if, have an end if. So we just got, if it's France, we're going to play bonjour. Okay, else if it's Spain, okay, we can just copy this line and we're going to play Buenos Dias. Else if it's, I'm not sure why we're getting a little else if. Okay, I got too much stuff there. I just want an else if. If it's Spain, we're going to play Buenos Dias. All right, and then we'll have the else ifs for the other countries. Now we'll fix all that up and put it in there. All right, so we pick Spain. That's all good. Oh, what's happened here? File not found exception. What did we forget to do, folks? And remember, when this happens, you've got to press that red stop button up the top. We have not copied those sound files in to where they need to be. All right, so remember we had in the downloads, we've got Buenos Dias, we've got ciao, and we've got g'day mate. So we need to take those three and go to our project. Keep clicking the top folder. It's just the top folder each time. The bin, then the debug. See, there's our bonjour. Make sure they're WAV files. So now we've got the 4 WAV files from the downloads and everything, fingers crossed, should work now. So if we go for Spain.
Buenos dias.
All right, great. And Italy. There's Italy. That's the word, but it's hard to understand how you'd say that word. Is it C-I-A-O? C-A-O?
Ciao.
No, it's chow. That's how it's said. So it's more like C-H-O-W, chow. Chowing down, eating some food. Australia. G'day, mate. And we've got that. And how do you pronounce this in Australian, guys?
G'day, mate. G'day, mate.
All right, it's got to be very nasally. And that is pretty much it.
Bonjour.
That's version 3 done. There we are. So we need a group box called country, and then you put the radio buttons inside the group box, and those guys need to be called opt France, opt Spain, opt Italy, and opt Australia, as they are here, 11 silver. All right, so let's redesign our form. That's the first thing we do. So we'll save this version. Now, what if I want to keep this version and not write over the top of it? Let's just show you how to do that. So let's just make sure we've done the save all. Let's close the solution here. All right, now, what we do is, see this top level folder that's the project. If you go Control-C, Control-V, all right, what we can do is we can call this one, we'll call this radio, all right? And then this one here that we had before, we'll call that CBO for combo box. All right, so this one's going to be the radio version, so double click on this, and all you have to do is click your foreign hello SLN file, and that should open it up in Visual Studio 2017, which is not what I want. I want it to actually open in 2019. Now, why has it done that? Can I pick what to open it up with? So if I right click and go open with Visual Studio 2019. Okay, I've still got 2017 installed here because some of my students have 2017. And sometimes if they're having problems, I just run it in 2017 and run it in 2019 and check if there's any differences between the two versions. Now you might be saying, where's my form? Where's my tools? What's going on? Remember, over in Solution Explorer here, double click on your form and it should bring in your form for you. All right, so this combo box here, we're just deleting that out now. And we're not going to use the choose country either. We're still going to have the go button. What we're going to do is we're going to add a group box first, a group box for everything to go inside. So we put the group box here and we stretch this guy out. So usually what you do is you put your radio buttons inside a group box and that makes it so they can only pick and click one button. All right, now it's called text group box. We need to change that to say country. And we need to change the for color. And do we need to change the font size? Size 11. So these are all size 11. So let's just check out what size we got here. Font. Oh, it's 8. Oh, it's a bit small. Let's get it to 11. All right, so that's that. Now we need radio buttons. So let's get our first one. So that's radio buttons. So drag it out here. Now its name needs to be Opt France for the first one. OPT because it's an option. That's what a radio button's called. And we need to make that France, not in capitals though. Okay, and we want the text down the bottom here to say France, not to say that. So that's all good. Now we can just Control-C, Control-V, right, just to speed things up. Just use Control-C, Control-V to make the others. And here we go. So the text on this one is Spain. We'll change their names in a minute. This one's Italy. And this last one's Australia. All right, now this Spain one, remember that needs to be called OPT for option, OPT Spain. And this one needs to be OPT Italy. And this one needs to be called OPT Australia. All right, now the logic of the program, and the good thing about in a group box now is that if you go to this kind of four arrows thing here, you can move it all around as a group. All right, so we're going to put that there. Now let's just run that and see what happens. Okay, there's errors, so just say no. Now there's build errors because we've still got all the code in for a combo box. All right, all this needs to be the same, but see where it's underlining CBO country selected item. So how do you figure out what's the Visual Studio name for this, that if we've picked this guy, Opt France, okay? So it looks like we only have to change about 4 lines of code, I think. So if optfrance.checked, okay, so that's what we need, that if they've got the option for France is the one they've clicked, then we do it. So we only have to change the CBO thing that's erroring, that thing that's got the red squiggle, just change it into this. So let's go. All right, so that's no good. Let's take that out and we just say if opt France checked, then do that. And here we're just not going to have Spain. We're just going to backspace over that and have opt. Is this one Spain? Pick Spain visible true. Yep, this is the Italy one. So just okay, somehow I'm copying the wrong thing here. Now you don't have to say opt checked equals true. You can just say that the option is checked and Visual Studio will understand that. Okay, then I just need opt Australia. So just swapping out the combo box stuff and using an opt that comes from a radio button, which is placed inside a group box. All right, now we've got the same problem here. So we need opt France checked. Okay, so we're not using combo box anymore. We're using opt France. Here we're using opt Spain and opt Italy and opt Australia. So yeah, just go through your code and where the red squiggles are, that's where we need to just change it so it's using radio buttons instead of combo box with selected items, whatever they've clicked on in the combo box. And so I was wrong, there's 8 lines, not 4 lines. All right, if opt Australia. All right, so that should now be doing the job. So let's check it out here. It's been a long live demo, but we have done 4 programs. All right, if we click go, we've still got our message there that they haven't selected a country, so that's working well. Let's just try Spain. Go, we got the picture of Spain.
Buenos dias.
Australia, let's go on Australia. We got the right stuff.
G'day, mate.
So you should check all of them and make sure they're all working.
Ciao.
And the last one's France. Go with France.
Bonjour.
All right, so, and Australia, the one I love.
G'day, mate.
All right, we could fix up things here so they line up a bit better and stuff by moving them around on the form. Ciao comes out there.
G'day, mate.
All right, so we could just change the lining up and some minor things like that, and that would be good. All right, so that is version 4 done. Demonstration is done. So this is explained in the download step-by-step instructions. So we'll run through that, lists, radio buttons, and check boxes, tick boxes as well. All right, So these are some projects our students have made. So this was a major project a student made, and what it was a dream NBA team, and here you could pick your player. So when you do that, there's a combo box, because you couldn't fit all these names in radio buttons because this form's pretty full as it is. So combo box is the way to go there, the drop down list. This next one, same sort of deal. This was a gym booking system project a student made, and again, we're just using drop-down boxes there, although you could use the date picker here, and we do have a video on that on the Passie's World of YouTube site if you want to see that. This restaurant order form has a lot of stuff on it, and you can see we're using radio buttons. And if you're just selecting one, so the burger type, you can either have chicken or beef. So that's a radio button. But here you might want to have onions, cheese, and lettuce. So these things are actually check boxes, tick boxes. They're different things. So there's three things. There's a drop-down list combo box. There's the radio button that you put inside a group box. And there's also check boxes or tick boxes. All right, so we've got all that there. That's another major project. This one was for an Indian restaurant, and again, we've got the tick boxes here. So a checkbox is what's being used. So out of your toolbox, you grab a checkbox and put it on. Now, how do you check that a checkbox has actually been ticked? If checkbox one dot checked. Okay, so if it has been checked with a tick, then you know it's true, and then you can do processing accordingly. This one uses checkboxes. This was just a little quick little grocery shopping list where you tick what you need, and then it's going to actually create a list that you can print out and take to the shops with you. So there you have it. Visual Basic, we've got three ways to get inputs off users, quick and easy. There's drop-down list, radio buttons, and checkboxes. Now the challenge task for you guys. All right, so on to the last thing, the challenge task. So extend the program we've made to make a quick travel guide of common phrases for tourists to use in a foreign country. So just pick one foreign country, and we need some typical phrases that tourists would need to know how to say in that foreign language. So how to ask where is, like where are the restrooms, the toilets if you need to go to the toilet, what time's the flight going, how much does a round trip ticket cost, ask for a table at a restaurant, ask what the server recommends you should eat, ask for the bill, ask how much something costs before you do anything. Ask people they speak English, because that'll make it a whole lot easier. You won't need this foreign language translator. Can you help me please? Excuse me, pardon me if you bump into someone or do something wrong. And of course, thank you. You've got to be polite and friendly when you're in foreign countries. So that is the challenge task for you. And we want to display the writing, and we want to be able to listen to it with a sound file as well. So anyway, hopefully you've had fun. Remember, there is our basic Visual Basic Fun and Games course. So if you go to the passieworldofict.com/VB Games web address, on our website, you can click on VB Games, and it's got all of these programs, including this one, will be added onto it. So have fun programming with VBNet. Now, this was kind of a bit of an education tutorial type thing, and we did go through the design and build methodology, and doing it in Agile and testing it as you go. It'll make your life easier. Also, it'll enable you to satisfy the requirements and get good grades on your assessment tasks when you hand them in. So remember, give this video a big thumbs up, like, because it's been really helpful, and subscribe to our channel because we're releasing new videos on all sorts of things all of the time. So subscribe, and we'll see you in the next lesson.